Tonight, feeling left behind.
I think special education is, a huge, important thing.
How the college support staff strike.
It's not about wages. It is about ensuring that, jobs don't get contracted out.
Is already worrying.
I hope it ends soon and not go for like months.
Some local families. Penalty hearing resumes. A psychiatrist takes the stand today as a police officer fights to keep his job. Protecting precious resources.
We are getting about 30 boulders installed today.
A local daycare taking no chances.
It actually did make me stop and think about our playground and how it is a bit vulnerable being in a parking lot.
In the wake of a fatal crash. Good evening. We begin tonight with the college support staff strike and students with special learning needs who feel they're being left out because of the labor dispute. The strike by 10,000 support staff across Ontario means certain programs at Conestoga College can't run, leaving some students and their families without options. CTV's Heather Senerin joins us live now with the latest on this. Heather, the strike, we should note, started almost a week ago and really no end in sight now.
And the picket lines at Conestoga College are expanding, Tony. Now there are picket lines in Kitchener, Waterloo, Stratford and Guelph. But one mother we spoke with says every day without classes is setting her daughter back.
15.
Sydney Sadler just started at Conestoga College.
I just like meeting new friends, like having all their classes.
She was diagnosed with an intellectual disability, and the Community Integration Through Cooperative Education, or CICE program, was the perfect fit, as it helps those with learning challenges.
We were both really excited when she got into the Conestoga program, knowing that for 2 more years she would have daily structure and routine and also be, learning new skills.
After 7 days of classes, learning came to a halt as thousands of support staff workers represented by OPSU walked off the job.
It's not about wages. It is about ensuring that, jobs don't get contracted out.
Conestoga College confirms the program Sydney is in cannot run without specialized workers.
But it's also putting her behind. So, to have to catch up, who knows how many weeks, is going to put a significant amount of stress on her.
But our students with the needs for accommodations and supports, we miss you and we want to be there for you.
The union says they understand the concerns of parents.
We're frustrated for you as well. We want you to have the services that your students should have.
As the strike continues, Sydney's left in limbo.
I hope it ends soon and not go for like months.
Sydney chose early childhood education as her area of specialization, and her program includes a placement at the daycare on campus.
Just to work with them and like read little books.
Conestoga College told CTV News it is actively exploring supports that can be offered to students in the CICE program, adding that it is committed to helping maintain connection and continuity for students. The college also said in a statement, in part, there were already drop-in sessions for some students today, and they are planning for delivery of core program courses next Monday. Tony.
Okay, CTV's Heather Senerin with the latest on the college support staff strike. Heather, thank you for that. Time now for a first check on the weather. Let's head to Alexander Pinto here in studio tonight with all the latest. Alex, another great one, and I love what you said last night when you brought up the radar board. There was nothing to really talk about.
Oh.
It was the same at 11:30, but beautiful, beautiful sun once again.
Not to tease too much, but similar today. Another day before, yes, we could see more of that cloud cover, maybe a chance for a little bit of wet weather looking ahead to tomorrow. But yeah, take a look at this satellite radar for tonight. Just like Tony said, pretty much not too much to report. A little bit of a rinse and repeat as we've been seeing all week. But yes, beautiful, beautiful sunshine out there. So if you are a fan of this warm summer weather, this has been the week for you. And we've definitely been above seasonal as well. Normally we should be around that 19-degree mark. But right now, 27 we are at here in Kitchener-Waterloo. Also 27 in London for many areas. In that mid to even upper 20s, and with the humidex at some point too feeling close to 30. So we're definitely feeling a little bit of a warm up, but yes, chance for a little bit of wet weather could be on the way. So we're going to break that down a little bit later for you. Tony.
Alex, thank you for that. We'll see you shortly. Well, a warning, this story has video that some may find disturbing. The penalty hearing for a Guelph police constable who admitted to assaulting a teen handcuffed to a hospital bed resumed today. A forensic psychiatrist who reviewed all of Corey MacArthur's records testified he sees a pattern of aggressive behavior and anger long before the incident. CTV's Krista Simpson reports.
Constable Corey MacArthur outside the Guelph Community Centre, where his penalty hearing resumed. Guelph police want to dismiss MacArthur, but he has argued he should be allowed to remain with the service. He's pleaded guilty to discreditable conduct in relation to a 2016 assault captured on security cameras at Guelph General Hospital. MacArthur was kneed by a teen, handcuffed to a gurney. He responded with an elbow strike that left the teen hurt. On the stand Wednesday, Dr. Peter Collins, a forensic psychiatrist, he was not allowed to assess MacArthur, but he did do a file review of all the documentation in this case. MacArthur has blamed his actions at the hospital on undiagnosed, untreated PTSD that he says was caused by the 2013 death of his partner, Constable Jennifer Kovach, who was responding to his call for backup when her cruiser crashed. Collins told the hearing there is evidence MacArthur had a pattern of anger and sometimes aggression long before that, noting in 2011 MacArthur's family doctor prescribed the constable a medication called Prestique for anger issues. Concerns about MacArthur's use of force were also noted during performance reviews with Guelph Police as early as January 2004. And in 2008, he was charged with assault after an arrest outside a Guelph bar. Collins says he doesn't see similarities with what happened in the hospital room in 2016 to the death of Constable Kovach 3 years earlier, saying instead MacArthur's aggressive response was more consistent with his assaultive behavior in the past. He also described MacArthur's response to the team kneeing him as over the top. The youth was in crisis and was not threatening anyone, was not at risk to being violent to anybody except to himself, and there was anger that was over the top. Collins also told the hearing that there's no objective test for post-traumatic stress disorder, and he notes that MacArthur did not actually witness the crash that killed his colleague. Collins saying PTSD is easy to exaggerate, especially if there is a gain for exaggerating it. The police services lawyer, Jessica Barrow, then asked, is there a gain in this case? Collins replied, any judicial hearing, there could be a gain. Collins also pointed out that 3 different judges in 3 different court proceedings have also raised concerns about MacArthur's reliability. This is MacArthur's second penalty hearing, and it began more than a year ago in July 2024. A few dates have been held since, but there have been a series of cancellations. MacArthur's usual lawyer did not attend Wednesday's hearing due to an urgent personal matter. The hearing is currently scheduled to resume October 24th, so MacArthur's lawyer can ask Collins his questions. After the first penalty hearing, MacArthur was told to resign or be fired, but he successfully appealed the decision, leading to this second hearing. Krista Simpson, CTV News, Guelph.
Ontario's Financial Accountability Office released its Economic and Budget Outlook report today. It's providing insight into what could be coming down the track for the province's finances. CTV's Siobhan Morris breaks down the findings.
Presenting the provincial budget this spring, the Minister of Finance trying to put a positive spin on an uncertain financial future.
We want to reduce our deficits to zero. We have a path to balance.
A new number crunch from Ontario's Financial Accountability Officer is much darker.
We don't see a balanced budget over the 5-year outlook that we're presenting here.
The budget watchdog says that's because of less money coming in, with a slowing economy rattled by tariffs and higher spending, especially in healthcare.
The FAO projects that the budget balance will deteriorate from an estimated deficit of $1.3 billion last year to a deficit of $12 billion in this fiscal year.
A spokesperson for Peter Bethlen-Falvey says in part that the spring budget highlighted a clear path to balance for 2027-28 as the government works to protect the economy and make Ontario the most competitive place to do business in the G7. But the FAO says things have changed. The $200 million surplus the government projected for 2027-28 will look more like a $10 billion deficit.
To achieve that $10 billion gap. It's either revenue measures or spending changes.
The Liberals now call the 2025 budget fiction.
It's not worth the paper it's written on.
The FAO is forecasting an explosion in the province's debt, rising steadily by tens of billions of dollars a year, an extra $141 billion in 6 years, hitting a whopping $549 billion in 2029-2030. The amount of money being paid on interest on that debt alarming to the Canadian Taxpayers Federation.
That is money that is being taken away from key government programs and is going toward just bondholders on Bay Street.
There's also worry about slowing GDP growth and higher unemployment.
We need a serious plan to invest in jobs and protect the jobs we've got, especially in key sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, and residential.
The caveat with these numbers is they were based on policies in early August. That is before Canada pulled back on tariffs on U.S. imports. So with an ever-changing trade picture, these numbers could change too. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
A fatal crash at a Richmond Hill daycare last week had Ontario's education minister ordering childcare operators to block parking spaces where kids could be in danger. As CTV's Spencer Turcotte tells us, a centre in Waterloo is taking swift action by bringing in boulders to do just that.
When a 70-year-old man crashed his car into a Richmond Hill daycare last week, killing a toddler and injuring several others, it spooked the director of St. John's Christian Nursery School in Waterloo.
It actually did make me stop and think about our playground and how it is a bit vulnerable being in a parking lot.
There are 2 playgrounds on site, one of which is in the middle of the parking lot, and there are plenty of parking spaces next to both of them.
We share our space with Luther Manor senior residents, and so many of these parking spots are theirs.
Other daycare sites across the province have parking lots that could pose a threat too, so given last week's tragedy, the Minister of Education gave clear direction.
We asked our providers, daycare operators, municipalities to immediately close parking spaces in front of vulnerable doors, windows, and we are out there now. I've ordered my ministry to work with inspectors, service providers, and operators, frankly, to identify vulnerabilities across the system.
Christine Helgerman received that memo, which suggested using pylons, signage, and staff vehicles. But that created other barriers since they share the lot with the seniors' residents.
They own some of those spots, so for us to start blocking them, that's not fair to them.
With Helgerman wanting to follow the province's directive and eliminate as much risk as quickly as possible, she came up with a more permanent solution. On Wednesday afternoon, they started replacing pylons with large landscaping rocks pushed up to each playground's fence.
We are getting about 30 boulders installed today, and the cost will come between $15,000 and $20,000.
The trouble is the not-for-profit's funding formula didn't account for projects like this, meaning they've had to dip into their reserves. She's hopeful the province or region of Waterloo may dish out some cash down the line to help cover the bill.
So right now, I'll spend the money, and hopefully we'll maybe get some money given back to us in later days.
Either way, it's a bet she's willing to take, not wanting to put a price on the safety of both the kids and seniors that share a space. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Waterloo.
Well, this warm September weather means many people are enjoying a lot more time outdoors. But human cases of West Nile virus in several places not far from Waterloo region have health officials putting out an alert. CTV's Hannah Schmidt following this story for us. Hannah, we are talking about human cases in Huron-Perth, Halton, and Brant's. So what's the message?
Well, Tony, health units are reminding residents not to take mosquito bites lightly, even though they say that the risk is still minimal at this time. The fall, early fall and the late summer are peak season for the virus.
Huron-Perth Public Health confirmed its first human case of West Nile virus this year. It comes 1 month after mosquito pools tested positive in Listowel and Mitchell.
This is the season that we are expecting that West Nile viruses you could get infected with West Nile virus, so you need to be really careful.
And this region isn't alone. Halton reported 5 new human cases Monday, and in Brant County, officials confirmed their first case in 5 years.
There is no vaccine for this disease, and there is no treatment for this disease. So prevention is definitely important.
According to Public Health Ontario, there have been 8 human cases reported across the province this week, with 99 cases reported so far this year, an increase over 2023 when there were 61 cases and 1 reported death, and in 2024 when 87 cases were reported.
Some of the factors that impact West Nile virus transmission is if you have, more annual or seasonal temperatures, like more warming. If the habitat is conducive for these mosquitoes to live, that's where you will see like a lot of cases of West Nile virus.
Most people bitten by an infected mosquito experience no symptoms, but for some, the illness brings fever, body aches, or rashes. And in 1% of cases, it can attack the nervous system, causing confusion, loss of consciousness, or paralysis.
In people who have this form of the West Nile virus that affects the central nervous system, death can occur in 10% of cases.
In an effort to mitigate the risk, Huron-Perth Public Health is targeting breeding grounds using larvicide in Stratford, St. Mary's, Listowel, and Mitchell.
I think when cities are being proactive in doing that, that's a good thing for all of us as city dwellers to enjoy the outdoors in the summer months.
But at home, Dowd says property maintenance is critical.
Homeowners need to also be diligent that, standing water, whether it be in their pool cover, their bird bath, children's toys, downspouts, not downspout, these troughs, clearing out that standing water because that's where mosquitoes will breed.
According to officials, West Nile virus usually peaks in late August and lasts into about mid-October, late October. And so, they're urging that their best advice to protect yourself is to cover up, put on insect repellent, and just be wary around the dusk and dawn hours, as that's the most typical time that mosquitoes are most active. Tony.
Yeah, some good reminders as we enjoy this beautiful weather. Hannah, thank you so much. CTV's Hannah Schmidt reporting live. Start your day in the know with the CTV Kitchener newsletter. Today's top stories, the latest forecast, and some must-see videos hitting your inbox every morning. Sign up at ctvnewskitchener.ca. Some hospital workers in Kitchener say they deserve equal pay with their counterparts across town. Coming up, CTV's Karis Map hears from those who say the recent merger of the hospitals didn't bring about a fair result for their paychecks.
I'm Jeff Pickle in Kitchener, where proposed housing development has residents concerned and why the current tenants of the property say their future hangs in the balance. That story is just ahead.
Another day with above seasonal conditions and plenty of sunshine, but we could be in for a little bit more cloud cover and potentially some wet weather. I'll tell you when in your full forecast coming up a bit later.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, happening right now, people have gathered in a Kitchener neighborhood where a developer wants to tear down a single detached home and replace it with a 6-unit building. The city of Kitchener hosting a community meeting on the front yard of the property right now to get feedback from people, and residents have shown up to voice their concerns. Let's find out more now. CTV's Jeff Pickle live at the scene. This is on Woodhaven Road. Jeff, this is not far from Fairview Park Mall, and you had a chance to speak with people who live in the home that would be demolished if this rezoning is approved. What do they have to say to you?
Well, Tony, for those residents who live on the actual property in question, they say they have very legitimate concerns about where they could go if that goes through, about the ability of not, or the possibility of not having a home at all. Now, this neighborhood is mostly single detached homes. The residents concerned about traffic, parking, and a lot of the issues that come up with increased density. Now, it's at 137 Woodhaven Road here, as you mentioned, not far from Fairview Mall. It's mostly single detached homes in the area. This property is rented by 2 families. The owner is requesting the city approve a zoning plan that would include tearing down the current home and replacing it with 2 new buildings that would be a total of 6 units. Now, with over 20 residents who live in the area showing up tonight to voice their concerns to officials, most are worried about, as mentioned, some of those issues around parking and traffic. But for the family who currently lives in the home, their concerns run much deeper.
For my family and for the family that's downstairs, we would be displaced with the potential to move back into a unit, but that could take upwards of a year. So there's already huge issues with homelessness.
Now, the City of Kitchener has passed a rental replacement bylaw where if units are demolished in the purpose of building new ones, that it's the owner of that property has to find a place to live or pay the residents there for their accommodations. However, that only comes into effect when they're demolishing 6 or more units. And because there's only 2 units being demolished now, the owner is not, legally obliged to do that. So those folks living in that property, again, really some concerns about their future, and definitely some tough questions ahead for City Council. When that next City Council meeting is, we don't know, but certainly residents here will show up when that does take place. Tony?
Okay, we'll hear more later tonight. Jeff Pickle, thank you very much for that live report in Kitchener. Lab workers at a Kitchener hospital say they want equal pay. The unionized workers at Waterloo Region Health Network's Midtown site speaking out today about a cost of living increase that was given to their counterparts over at the Queens Boulevard site. Let's go to CTV's Karis Map now, live with more on that story and a response as well from the hospital network. First of all, Karis, how much of a difference are we talking here?
Well, Tony, staff at the Midtown location told me it depends on their specific positions, but say many lab employees at Queens Boulevard are making as much as $7 more an hour. Hospital employees were sounding the alarm in Kitchener Wednesday afternoon. Some unionized staff at the Waterloo Regional Health Network's Midtown location took to King Street picketing for equal pay. Following the hospital merger involving the former Grand River and St. Mary's hospitals, lab employees are now highlighting wage discrepancies between union and non-union employees.
We've always known that there was a wage gap, and we've known that we would have to go into a Placerta vote because our site is unionized and Queens Boulevard is not.
Wren giving non-union employees a cost of living wage increase as much as $7 an hour.
If both parties, both unionized and non-unionized, are doing the same job, I don't understand where you create a divide if they are doing the exact same work.
Prior to the merge, many employees were faced with a decision of where they'd continue working.
I had to quit one of the hospitals to be able to stay employed, potentially losing all of my seniority at the one location.
8 years of seniority down the drain, only to learn her former colleagues are now making more money.
I think it's very disheartening.
Many echoing that feeling.
We deserve a cost of living increase just as much as they do because we're all paying for groceries and rent and mortgages and everything.
We asked Waterloo Regional Health Network for an interview about the union's claims. They would not provide anyone to answer questions, but provided a statement saying in part, our organization deeply values the hard work and incredible dedication of all healthcare workers, adding they've actively been working to create a consistent and equitable pay framework for all staff. But impacted employees and union officials say the timing of the hospital's pay increase is suspicious.
I believe that this was premeditated.
As a result of the merger under the Wren, a vote is on the horizon to determine members' choice of representation for all staff.
I believe that, they offered the non-unionized staff the raise to try and show them that, maybe it's better not having a union.
They chose to do it now at a time when there is a labor board hearing on Monday to determine the bargaining units and representation and all of that.
Midtown employees I spoke with earlier say their hope is that the hospital will grant the cost of living wage increase to all staff temporarily before potentially heading back to bargaining following their upcoming vote. Tony. Karis
Mapp reporting live. Thank you for that. Provincial police say a 21-year-old man is facing charges after a dangerous wrong-way driving incident on the 401 in Milton. OPP shared this footage from a vehicle heading westbound near James Snow Parkway around 6 p.m. on September 7th. Suddenly, a vehicle appears in the center lane driving in the opposite direction. The driver of the sedan loses control, begins swerving, and narrowly avoids a head-on collision with the driver who captured the video. Police say the incident could easily have turned fatal.
Well, the driver was going, again, high rates of speed, weaving through traffic, sideswiped several vehicles before he actually lost control and went into a concrete light standard abutment on the highway. At that point, he fled the scene. Callers at the scene reported his direction of travel. Mississauga OPP were able to locate that driver a short distance away, take him into custody.
The driver faces charges including dangerous driving and leaving the scene of an accident. The OPP are also looking into whether impairment was a factor in this case. Live look outside on a sunny Wednesday evening. Alex is here with our long-range forecast in just a few minutes. Also coming up, a big hand up to some local nonprofits. Dozens of community groups just found out they'll be getting grants from the region. CTV's Alexandra Hollick finds out where the money's going and why the groups say it's needed. But next, pomp and pageantry for the U.S. president. Donald Trump's state visit to the UK begins. Joy Malvin is in London to tell us about the bigger story behind this visit next. Well, Alex is back as we take a look at our long-range forecast now. I just feel like this has been such a pleasant thing to look forward to every day because you've brought us nothing but good news. Feels like August out there still. But, I mean, sooner or later, I know, we've got to have some rain.
Yeah, that's, of course, at some point. And I mean, yes, that's good news for our gardens, of course. You know, our grass might need it as well. And the farmers. I know we can't forget about our farmer friends. They definitely need a little bit of that wet weather to help with, to grow those crops. But if you are a fan, of course, of the sunshine we've been seeing, this has been your lucky week. Except
that it's disappearing a lot earlier at night now, and it's that week where it's really happening quickly too. It feels like we're losing. I mean, it's probably not quite 10 minutes, but it feels like it's disappearing in increments of 10 minutes earlier and earlier all the time. It's happening so fast.
I know, and even now, you know, just after 7 o'clock, that's when we're actually getting that sunrise. So if you're an early riser, it's hard to wake up when it's so dark. So definitely noticeable this week, at least for me, and I'm sure many out there. As we take a live look outside, though, we've got nice blue, clear sky, just a light breeze in the air. Again, a really lovely, lovely evening if you are a fan of the warmer weather, above seasonal conditions. Many of us sitting in that mid to even upper 20 range. And it's pretty much been like this the last few days. But as we look ahead to tomorrow, that's potentially when we could see a little bit of wet weather head our way. So when we look at our future cast, mainly clear, not too much activity here as we get into our later evening into the overnight hours. But yes, so it's Thursday, so this is what we want to kind of keep an eye on as well. A bit more cloud cover expected to build. So the morning expected to be sunny. It's the afternoon. We're seeing about a 30% chance of showers for us here, in particular in Waterloo region. But if you are in Sarnia, Windsor area, potentially you could see a little bit of wet weather, and even Toronto, the GTHA, so Hamilton, Brantford, also expected to potentially see some of that wet weather. But once that does pass, again, we could see more of that scattered shower or isolated shower activity. We could just be in for some more cloud cover sticking with us into the overnight to start your day as well for Friday morning. But then once that does pass, we are expected to really be left with a mix of sun and cloud to kick off your weekend. So temperature-wise, again, many of us sitting in that mid-20 range. Slightly cooler and noticeably cooler, though, in Goderich, 19 degrees, but 19 is actually are normal for this time of year. That is considered seasonal. For us right now in Kitchener-Waterloo, 26 degrees, 23 if you're in Sarnia, 27 in Windsor this hour. And just to compare with the Humidex too, here in KW feeling closer to 30. So we're definitely feeling that warm summer-like weather sticking with us, but no extreme humidity. Not like what we saw earlier in the summer months as well. Feeling more like 27 in Hamilton and Toronto this hour as well. So we did hit our high of 27 degrees this afternoon, so definitely above seasonal for this time of year. Record high was 32. That was set back in 1955 on this day. And we saw an overnight low of below -1. That was on this day, 1973. So definitely a lot cooler compared to just the 10 degrees we're expected to hit getting into our overnight tonight. And yes, as Tony mentioned, the day is definitely getting shorter. Like we said, 7:03. That's now when we're seeing that sunrise. And it is now setting before 7:30. Hard to believe we're already here. So overnight clear conditions as we dip down to our overnight low of 10 degrees. And then tomorrow, another warm one expected. 28 is our expected daytime high with that humidex feeling more like 33. And then again, sunshine to start the day. So really a chance of those showers, 30%. That's not expected until the afternoon hours. So over the next several days, once we get past tomorrow, Friday, mix of sun and cloud expected for you, high of 20 degrees. And then again, mix of sun and cloud expected as we get into your Saturday and Sunday. And for your Saturday, again, we're going to be closer to seasonal there for 18 degrees. So again, we should be sitting around that 19-degree mark. And then for Lambton, Kent, and Essex, sunny sky in store for you as we look ahead to tomorrow with getting close to that 30-degree mark. Mix of sun and cloud in store for your Friday, but in terms of overnight lows too, close to seasonal, but slightly above. And for Southern Georgian Bay, 30% chance of showers, high of 25 when we look ahead at tomorrow. And then, yes, Monday. I know I keep forgetting to mention Monday, first official day of fall. We saw those icons for a few others as well. Slight chance for some wet weather, high of 21. So looks like potentially we might be in for above seasonal conditions to start off a new season. And here is tonight's Weather Watcher picture, a beautiful shot of a sunset paddle on Lake Huron. Brenda sending us this photo. Brenda says this is their first year living on Lake Huron, so imagine enjoying this view every single day. I'm sure you get some beautiful sunrise and sunset shots, and it just looks so serene. So beautiful, beautiful shot. Brenda, thank you so much for sending this and being tonight's Weather Watcher. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't jealous.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, the paddlers have really taken us up on our challenge after we did that other kayaking photo the other day. Well, it wasn't of someone kayaking, but it was of a scene where they kayak, and nice to see people still able to get out and enjoy that at this time of year because the window can close pretty quickly.
Yes, so it's been a real treat, and it really looks like you're taking advantage, which is great to see.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you later. From Washington to Windsor Castle, U.S. President Trump basking in the glow of a British royal spectacle today as he opened a two-day state visit to the UK. CTV's Joy Malbin tells us what's on the agenda and why this trip is significant.
It's a striking show of force. In Windsor, police on the streets on horseback patrolling the River Thames. And there will be a no-fly zone. Police are concerned someone might try to fly a drone over the castle walls. After the targeted assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, as well as the attempts on Trump's life, no one is taking any chances. All of the events will be kept inside for security reasons and hidden from the public. Those hoping for a glimpse of the U.S. president in Windsor will be disappointed. Donald Trump and the First Lady arriving here by helicopter. That's how tight security is.
This is the second state visit. You know, it's spectacular. It's a shame, really, they're not having a carriage ride through Windsor.
The Stars and Stripes along with the Union Jack may be on display, but not everyone is rolling out the welcome mat.
Oh, this man is endangering human life on this planet. He's got to be told that, and I can't go to America, so he's kindly come here.
Trump will avoid the demonstrations and protests against his visit from the Stop Trump coalition and others angry over what they call the president's divisive politics. Trump and the First Lady will be treated to a grand display of royal pageantry, hoping this so-called soft power of the royals will appeal to the unpredictable president. In the face of Trump's annexation threats, it was King Charles who went to Canada to show solidarity.
As the anthem reminds us, the true north is indeed strong.
and free.
That intervention by the king seems to have worked, though Canadians aren't over it yet.
I'm from Canada, so at the moment we feel a little bit misunderstood by him, so I'm not sure that we're excited about Donald Trump.
This visit will be a royal charm offensive with all the pomp and ceremony, from a military fly past, a gun salute, and a lavish state banquet, all designed to dazzle the U.S. president in hopes of signing some crucial business deals. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Windsor.
The first interest rate cut in half a year. Coming up, details on today's Bank of Canada decision and the bigger story that it tells about our economy. Canadians haven't seen a bank rate cut since March, and the rate hasn't been this low in years. The trend-setting rate dropped to 2.5% today. CTV's Mike LeCouture reports.
With global economic growth showing signs of slowing, Tiff Macklem says much of the uncertainty is because of the trade war with the U.S.
Tariffs are weakening the Canadian economy.
Canada's central banker couldn't be more blunt, as exports dropped by 27% in the second quarter of this year and inflation rose by 1.9%. Tiff Macklem and his team decided it was best to lower interest rates.
Canadians remain concerned about the cost of living, and our primary mandate is to maintain low, stable inflation, and we are very focused on that.
Canada's GDP declined by 1.6% in the second quarter, and some forecasts have the rest of the year looking flat, leading some economists to use the R word.
The term is technical recession, where there's two negative quarters. Well, certainly we're pretty well there. The third quarter, it's going to be flat at best.
The central bank disagrees, predicting modest growth in the second half of the year. But Macklem says that could change depending on what comes from the U.S.
Where there's a significant escalation of tariffs, U.S. tariffs, in that scenario, the Canadian economy does go into recession.
The effects of the trade war are also being felt in the U.S., where job gains have slowed and inflation ticked up. It's why the U.S. Federal Reserve recommended cutting its interest rate by 25 basis points on Wednesday. And while the decisions in each country are made independently, it does provide some perspective.
You know, we talk about we got a big deficit of debt. Well, theirs is way bigger than ours are.
The Bank of Canada's next rate decision is in October, but it's unclear if there will be another cut then. With the federal budget expected November 4th, Macklem could wait to see the scope of government spending before cutting the interest rate again. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
All right, recapping our top stories now with Leanne Evans in studio with us. And we're starting to hear about the impact of the strike, Leanne, by 10,000 college support staff.
Yeah, and students with special learning needs feel they're being left out because of the labor dispute. The strike started almost a week ago with no end in sight. It means certain programs at Conestoga College can't run without specialized workers, leaving some students and their families without options. The union says they understand the concerns of parents. The college told CTV News it is actively exploring supports that can be offered. The penalty hearing resumed today for Guelph Police Constable Corey MacArthur, who assaulted a teen handcuffed to a hospital bed back in 2016. The service is seeking to dismiss him, while MacArthur is fighting to keep his job. Today, a forensic psychiatrist took the stand, making the case that MacArthur has a long history of anger issues. The hearing currently scheduled to resume October 24th.
And lots on the go on our website tonight, Leanne, as well. Our digital teams put together a little bit of a guide for some fall events around southern Ontario. It's a good time of year to get out and enjoy what the outdoors have to offer.
Yes, it's the perfect time of year, and there's so much on the go in this transition period, too, between summer and fall in Waterloo region and many surrounding communities, too. From fall fairs to night markets, homecoming weekend, Oktoberfest festivities, and so much more. You can find the full list of events by going to our website, scan the QR code, download the CTV News app, or go to ctvnewskitchener.ca. We just saw a picture of Angie Hill. We'll be celebrating her 30th anniversary on the radio airwaves Friday here at the station.
Incredible. And Angie's a legend on local airwaves.
Yes,
I'm just going to say it. We'll have more on that celebration later this week.
Yes, we will.
All right, Leanne, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, dozens of grassroots organizations in Waterloo Region are getting a financial boost. It's all thanks to a regional initiative known as the Upstream Fund, which aims to uplift underrepresented groups. CTV's Alexandra Hollick now on how the multi-year, multi-million-dollar investment is paying off.
Applause erupts in Waterloo Region Council chambers, celebrating the latest recipients of the Upstream Fund.
It is a funding model, if you want to say, but it really is more of like a community development partnership approach to supporting community and grassroots organizations to continue to do the incredible work that they're doing.
Since 2022, the region has put $14 million toward local nonprofits dedicated to supporting marginalized groups. This year, more than 24 organizations received just under $1.9 million combined.
What we've seen really is that the initiatives that were happening already have only been strengthened and the impacts have been amplified, and we're seeing more and more connected community members, more services being provided.
One of the groups benefiting is Adventure for Change, which helps newcomers to Waterloo feel more at home.
It allows people to see that there is hope. Upstream is providing a lot of hope for these families, hope for these individuals.
A4C is using their funding to support staff, programming, and sustainability. And like other groups, they want to continue to serve those who need it most.
This funding is really going to enable us to practice restorative justice in situations of identity-based harm in a much deeper and wider way.
We are going to hire more counselors from different backgrounds so we can provide excellent services to the people in Waterloo region.
The Upstream initiative has paid off. New research from Laurier University suggests the return on the region's initial $4.1 million investment has more than doubled, creating $9.7 million in economic impact.
When you invest in equity-led organizations, they do a lot with very little monies.
But the result is more than just a number.
Newfound credibility and visibility that they received as a result of the funding, and of course fostering community.
Applications for the next round of Upstream funding will be available early next year. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Kitchener.
Okay, a lot of people still watching the Jays very closely right now, but the fact is the Leafs are getting ready to jump into action. Training camp begins. We've got to look ahead to the NHL season that will open in just a few weeks. Next.
John, I think we're going to start with a few.
Well, the Leafs are getting ready for the upcoming season, opening training camp today. CTV's Sean Leathong has more from members of the team and a look ahead.
Thanks for joining us today. The start of another Leafs season comes with talk about who isn't here.
What excites me is I don't have to hear Core 4 anymore. Hopefully I don't have to hear it from you guys the whole season.
After 9 seasons in blue and white, All-Star and Toronto native Mitch Marner leaving the team for Las Vegas.
You know, you're teammates, you're also friends, and he'll be a friend of all of ours for life. So, you know, those are always tough conversations to have.
I mean, guys leave all the time, and I mean, Mitch was a polarizing guy because of how talented he was. But, you know, for us, it's onward.
Following the Leafs' loss to the Florida Panthers in 7 games, Brendan Shanahan was let go from his job as team president.
You definitely take it personal because at the end of the day, it means we didn't accomplish what our goals were.
With expectations for this team still very high, Coach Craig Berube says winning when it matters most is a top priority.
You come to Toronto in a big game at home, it's a lot of pressure. We all know that, but we got to all be able to deal with it better than we did.
At the end of last season, GM Brad Treliving famously said that the team needs to change its DNA. Today, that means some jobs are open.
If you can help us win, if you're 20 or 35, we don't really care what your birth certificate says.
With Marner out, in are players like Mateus Michelli and Nicholas Waugh. There's also a chance for Max Domi to move up to the team's top line. And on top of that, with the new long-term contract, Matthew Nyes is expected to build on a stellar last season, as will William Nylander, who has emerged as a perennial all-star. But the process of finding out where each of those players fit starts tomorrow with the first on-ice workouts. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
And more news in a moment. First, let's check in with Alex.
Still feeling that sunshine out there this hour, as many of us are sitting in the mid-20s right now. We'll take a look at how cool it could be to start off the day and wake up weather coming up after the break. Here's a look at your CTV lineup tonight at 7 o'clock. Stick around for E-Talk before The Big Bang Theory at 7:30. Then stick around for an episode of Master Chef before back-to-back episodes of Shifting Gears starting at 10.
Let's check in with Leanne Evans one more time for a story that our team will have later tonight. Leanne.
Well, Tony, we will have more on that community meeting happening in a Kitchener neighborhood tonight. A developer wants to tear down a single detached home on Woodhaven Road and replace it with a 6-unit building. CTV's Jeff Pickle is speaking with neighbors and the woman who currently lives in the home and will bring us more at 11:30. Tony.
Okay, Leanne, thank you for that. Appreciate it as always. And Alex, our wake-up weather, at least for another day, is going to feel summer-like. But I noticed even in the long range, the temperatures kind of rebound.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe there's one day in there where it's going to feel seasonal, and then we're going to warm up right again. But yeah, when we look at your wake-up weather for tomorrow, again, the morning, that's when we're expected to see some sunshine before that chance of showers expected to move in for the afternoon. So by 6, mainly clear conditions. Then by 10 a.m., we're all going to be at 21 degrees, mainly sunny sky. So again, for West here in Waterloo region, about a 30% chance of showers is what we are seeing at this point. So yes, it's definitely going to be another warm one. Again, with that humidex also feeling a little bit warmer as well.
Here, sorry, I had to add an H to one of these words here, or it's not going to make sense when you read it.
Always looking out for each other.
I got your back. I got your back. So this is our final story tonight. The finalists for the 2025 Toy Hall of Fame are out. And you know what? There are actually some surprises. This list is put together every year by the Strong National Museum of Play. This time around, snow is one of the options up for the honor. Kind of wasn't expecting this. It refers to snowball fights. Organizers describe it as a mostly harmless projectile that provides endless fun.
Yeah, so other finalists include board games, Trivial Pursuit, Connect 4, as well as Spirograph, Scooter, Slime, Tickle Me Elbow, Furby, I had one of those, and Cornhole. Now, the public can vote for their favorites, and a panel of judges will decide when they'll be inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame in November.
Lots of fun. We'll see you at 11:30. Have a good night.